Hey, third grade friends, it's Mrs. Herbay. We're going to start a new project this week, and we're going to be talking about snowmen since it's winter out. But I bet you've never thought about drawing a snowman from the perspective of where you were laying on your back in the snow and you were looking up at the sky, and your snowman that you created were looking down at you. So, this is going to be a fun lesson where we're going to be talking about perspective and we're gonna be talking about sort of a worm's eye view. So when we're on the ground and we're looking up at the sky, how that changes how we see things. So what you're gonna do is this is not quite a finished example. Today we are going to actually draw our snowman and then decorate our snowman. And then next week we're gonna talk about shading and coloring and the background. But today we're just going to be focusing on drawing our snowman, but I kind of wanted to give you an idea of where we're going. So what you want to do is you want to grab a pencil, you want to grab an eraser if you have one, and you just want to grab inside your bag that your teachers, your school bag that your teacher sent classroom supplies home into you, there is a square piece of paper that's white. I want you to grab that, okay? And then we'll get started. All right, guys, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our square piece of paper. We're actually going to rotate it so that the corner is facing our belly button. So it's facing towards us. And what we're going to do is we're going to figure out how high up we're going to draw our first curved line for the bottom of the snowman's body. So what I think, sort of a frame of reference that sometimes will kind of help you is if you take your pointer finger, okay, and where your pointer finger attaches to your hand, if you just want to set that down at the base of your piece of paper. Now your pointer finger is probably a little bit shorter than mine, so you might need to go up just a tad bit further. But what we're going to do is we're going to put our pointer finger down, and then we're just going to put a little bit of a mark there, okay? And you might ask, why are we putting a mark there? The reason is that sometimes when I draw, I like to kind of have a guide sort of to let me know, well, where am I going with my lines? Where should I start and where should I finish? So this, by putting this line here, it kind of tells me, okay, I need to draw a curved line that's going to start on the side and kind of go up and touch that line and then come back down, okay? If I start close to the bottom here, then it's going to be a tall, pointy body, which we probably don't want. If I start way out here, I won't be able to get a curve, all right? So you want to start somewhere kind of in between where it's too far and where it's too short, okay? So probably like right around here on the side here is where I'm going to make my curve, okay? And I'm going to curve up, hit that line, and then curve back down. It's almost like we're drawing a circle, but we are only drawing part of the circle that is showing on the paper. So it would be as if I took a like a circular cup, like I could take this cup here, and imagine that, here, I'll scoot this up a little bit. Imagine where I'm drawing the whole circle, but we're only going to see, I'll show you guys kind of how that would look. Boom. So I'm only drawing part of the circle and I'm only showing like that, okay? But I'm gonna try to draw it just with my, just myself, because snowmen are not perfect, right? And when we roll a ball of snow, it kind of turns out however it turns out, right? So I want you guys to practice kind of drawing it sort of on your own. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start on the side here. I'm going to curve up, I'm going to kind of hit that line, curve around, and then go back down, okay? And there's my curve, all right? And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate my paper. So I'm going to rotate it so that this point is now facing the front. It's facing my belly button, okay? And same thing, I'm going to take my pointer finger, where it attaches to my hand, I'm just going to set it on the edge here And I'm just going to put a light little mark there. My mark's probably going to be darker because I want you guys to be able to see it on the video. And then again, I'm going to kind of figure out where do I want to start that curve that kind of comes up and then goes back around. So I think this is probably a good spot. So I'm going to curve up and then back down. And there's my curve. And you can even sometimes, if it's hard to get that curve, sometimes what I like to do is just air draw it. So like just kind of practice and get your hand kind of flowing, and just kind of have it be like a smooth, continuous motion. Something where you're almost moving from your shoulder and not just your hand. Like if I just try to move my fingers like this, it gets kind of stuck and then it's kind of hard to come around. But if I move my whole arm and my hand, it makes it easy to kind of make that curve. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate one more time. Same thing, I'm going to take my pointer finger where it attaches to my hand. I'm going to put it right where that point is. I'm going to put a little mark there. I'm going to go to the side here. I'm going to curve up, curve around, and back down. And I feel like I just want to kind of smooth that out a little bit. So sometimes if you, let's say you draw your curved line and you're like, I maybe want to adjust it a little bit. Make the adjustments first so that you can kind of see where you want the line to go, and then erase the part that you don't like. A lot of times our initial response is to, oh, I don't like that line, and we erase it really fast. And then what happens is we don't know, then we end up drawing the same line that we didn't like again. Whereas if we leave the line we don't like and fix it and then erase it, I think it's a little bit of a better way to help you if you want to make a few adjustments to your drawings. Then, last but not least, we're going to take our paper. It's pointing towards us. I'm going to take my pointer finger, put it down at the bottom there, put a mark up here, find my part on the side, kind of make a practice curve or two, and I'm going to curve up and around. All right, so go ahead, if you didn't get all 4 of your curves drawn yet, go ahead and do that, and then we'll go on to the next step. All right, guys, now we're going to start by drawing the next part of the snowman's body, which is that the middle ball, snowball, okay? And again, we're going to imagine that we're drawing a circle, but again, part of the circle is going to be hidden from our view. We're not going to be able to see it because we're looking from the ground. And so we're imagining that this is very rounded, and so we can't see back beyond where it's rounding to, okay? So what we're going to do is, again, we're going to, maybe to give you an idea, this time, instead of using our whole pointer finger, we might just use like half our pointer finger. So where our knuckle is, if we want to lay our knuckle on the top of this line here, and then put a little bit of a mark, that'll kind of help us give or take. I might have put that a little higher than I'd like. The thing is, we don't want to go too high with these because we don't want our snowmen's heads to collide with one another. All right, so I have this little mark here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start here, and same thing, I'm going to curve up, hit that line, and then curve around and back down. Okay, and again, if I want to maybe adjust it a little bit, I felt like I wanted to maybe change that a little bit. I made my adjustment, and then I'm just erasing that. Okay, then we're going to do that same thing where we're going to rotate around, okay, and the point's pointing towards us. And I'm going to take my knuckle, and I'm going to kind of lay my knuckle kind of right down there, put a little bit of a mark there, and then again, I'm going to, again, if I started close to the center of the circle here, this is going to be like this tall, pointy sort of middle part of the body. And I want it to be more rounded, so I'm going to start more onto this. I'm just going to come up a little bit from the edge of the piece of paper probably about right around in here. And then I'm going to start to draw my curve and around. So it kind of makes, you want these to get incrementally smaller as they go back, okay? Then I'm going to turn. This is pointing towards me. I'm taking my knuckle, placing it on the edge here, drawing a little bit of a line there. Same thing, I'm going to come up a little ways from the edge. If I started really close to the edge, this would be like a huge part of the middle body. So I want to come up a little bit of a ways, and then I'm just going to curve up and around, and then back down. And I think I might just want to make it a little bit like that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm just going to erase that line there, okay? And I'm also going to erase my dark line that I drew, okay? Then, well, last but not least, we're going to do our last middle part of our body. So where our knuckle is, we're going to put it on the line. I'm going to put a mark, all right? I'm going to start on the side here, curve up and around and back down. And I didn't quite hit that line, but I'm okay with it. And then maybe what I'm going to do is I'm just going to make the body just a little bit wider. So you can kind of see how you can make a few little adjustments when once you've drawn what you drew in the first place, okay? So then what we're going to do is we're going to go on to the next part. But before we do, I'll stop the video. So if you were sort of taking your time, you'll be able to go ahead, make sure you have your next 4 circles drawn, and then we'll move on in a second. All right, now for the last part, we're going to put the head onto our snowman. So what we're going to do is this is going to be a little bit more of a circle. We're going to show more of the circle than we did before because it's the head of the snowman. So I'm just going to kind of sort of eyeball it. And there is my head number 1. So it's just same thing where we're drawing this curve that kind of comes up and around. And then I'm going to rotate my paper. And again, this point is facing towards me. Okay. And I'm going to start on the side here, curve up and around and back down. And then I'm going to rotate. I'm going to start on this side here, curve up and around and back. And then last but not least, I'm going to start on the side here. I'm going to curve up and around and back. Okay? So now I have 4 snowman bodies that are kind of looking down on me. Okay? So what I want you to do is go ahead and finish drawing your circles if you need to. And then we're going to talk about decorating our snowman. All right, guys. So for this part, I don't want you to necessarily start drawing while I'm drawing. I just want you to kind of watch and listen, and I'm going to give you some ideas, and then I want you to use your own imaginations and come up with original decorations for your snowman. Okay? When we think about a typical snowman, usually we talk about how they have sometimes buttons that go up their body. A simple snowman would have buttons, would have sort of dots for the eyes, maybe a corn, or not a corn, a carrot nose. In the songs, Frosty the Snowman, he has a corn cob pipe. Maybe our snowman has a scarf or a hat. So I'm going to kind of show you some of those ideas, but you might want to have like a theme snowman where you decorate your snowman to look like something else, and that is okay too. One of the things, though, that I want you guys to be mindful of is as we talk about perspective, as we go back into the picture, things are going to get smaller. So just as these snowman circle parts of the body got smaller, let's say we were going to draw buttons on our snowman. We would start off by drawing the button that is closest to us is going to be the biggest, okay? So if I was drawing a button right here, that would be, let's say, the biggest that it is because it's really close to me. As I go up, then I'm going to make the next circle slightly smaller, okay? Then as I go up further still, it's going to get even smaller. So they're incrementally getting smaller, and then a little bit smaller, and then a little bit smaller, okay? And what that does is that gives us the illusion that the snowman looks more 3D, and it looks more like he's really looking down on me. Another thing we can think about is if we were drawing the snowman's scarf. I'm going to erase this button right here because it's kind of in my way. So if we were drawing our snowman's scarf, the scarf is also going to have a rounded line to it because it's going kind of up and around the snowman's body, and we can't see the part that kind of goes up and around the rounded part. So we wouldn't want to draw a straight line across because then it's not going to look as 3D as if we would draw a curved line. So you can decide if you happen to want to put a scarf on your snowman. If you want it to be a big scarf, you would start your line down here and you would draw sort of a big curve like that. If you wanted your snowman to have just a really thin scarf, you would start higher up and draw your curve line up like that, okay? So it doesn't matter, but you just want to make sure that your line is curved. After you draw the curved line, then you can, coming off of the scarf, you can draw your fun little, you can decide how long the scarf is. You can decide if it has fringe on it. You can also then, you can decorate the scarf. Maybe your scarf has a pattern. I'm going to draw some diagonal lines that way. Then I'm going to draw some diagonal lines that way. Same here. Okay. Another fun thing that our snowmen sometimes have are hats. And there's a number of different hats that our snowman could have. Okay. Let's say you want to do a winter hat. If we're doing a winter hat, we're also going to kind of follow the same curve as the top of the snowman's head. Okay. If you wanted the hat to rest a little bit further down on the head, you would start by drawing a curve that kind of comes along the same curve as the head. Then it would kind of curve up and around and back down. And then what you would do is you would erase the part that this needs to come over a little bit further. There we go. And then you can then add, if it's a winter hat, like a winter tassel cap. And this is Herbay's gonna kind of round that a little bit more. So yeah, you would keep the same curve as you do as the curve with the head, okay? And maybe I want to put like a fun little pom-pom on the top of it. All right. You can also decorate the hats. If I was going to put lines on the hat, I'm going to kind of follow the same curve as the edge a little bit until I work my way to the middle like that. And that's going to help the hat seem more rounded as well. The face is probably the easiest. Depending on which way the carrot nose is, we could draw it like this. up in the air like that. And again, as the circles here will be a little bit closer, and as they go back up, they're going to get a little bit smaller. So you could have the carrot nose going like that. You can also, if you were decorating the face, do another face. You could have the carrot nose kind of going up and off to the side as well. And you can just erase that part right there. Okay. So that's scarves and hats. Let's say you wanted kind of a different kind of a hat. Really, the sky is the limit. For example, let's say I wanted a baseball hat. I could draw like the curved part, the front part of the, sort of the, maybe I'll make it a little more curved like that. And kind of draw a curve like that, and then we would draw the part that goes up and around, and since it's overlapping that other part, just gonna go like that. All right, and there's a baseball hat, or we could even draw the baseball hat instead of having the part of the hat come down. We could have it curve up and around like that as the baseball hat as well. Or maybe we want it to go a little bit more on the head. So I'm just gonna kind of curve it like that. And then curve it like that. Other kind of hats, you can use your imagination. Maybe you want to have like a fun, fun top hat. And same thing, you can again draw a curve. Maybe I'll draw like that. Okay, and then again, I would erase the part curve. Again, remember to keep your lines sort of rounded, like they are on the head, so that it looks like it's a little bit more 3D. Another fun thing you could do is maybe your snowman just wants to have some cozy earmuffs, right? And then I would curve up and around like that. So those are just some ideas to get you going, but you can, really anything that you can think of, you can do. Now let's talk about the snowman's clothing, okay? Some ideas for that are maybe your snowman is wearing a sweater. So you might want to draw a couple vertical lines that come down like that. And again, since there are buttons on the front of the sweater, the biggest button is going to be right there. And then as I go up, the next button's going to be a little bit smaller. The next one's going to be a little bit smaller. And the last one is going to be the smallest still. So the buttons go biggest to smallest as I work my way back. If you wanted your snowman to have, like, pretend that it really was an outfit with sleeves, you could do sleeves, and then you could draw the snowman's hands coming out of the sleeves. If you didn't want to do sleeves, here I'll show you on this side. You could just draw the snowman's hand coming from the side of his body or her body, okay? And another thing you could do is maybe you want to put mittens on your snowman. So one of the strategies I like to use is there's the arm, and then if I draw an oval like this, and then I'm going to curve up and around like that. And there's my mitten. And again, you can decorate the mittens. Maybe I want to put a snowflake on this mitten. You can decorate the mittens. Maybe your snowman has something in their hand, in his or her hand, depending on the theme of the snowman. Maybe you want to decorate the sweater. So maybe I want to, if this was a snow girl, maybe she has flowers on her sweater. And maybe, I'm getting a cool idea, maybe she has flower buttons going down on the front of her. So if that was the case, I want to draw my circles smallest to biggest or biggest to smallest. And then I'm going to add my petals. And then this time the next set of petals is going to be bigger. And then the last set of petals is going to be the biggest. All right. Maybe my snowman wants to look like Frosty and have a jacket on. So what I can do is I can draw a curved line like that, curved line like that. And then to make a lapels, I just do a diagonal, 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 and then diagonal. Then I'm going to go diagonal, 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 diagonal. And then again, I have biggest to smallest buttons right there. And again, I can decorate the jacket. Or not, or maybe I want to add a pocket. And maybe there's a handkerchief going out of the pocket. All right. Oops, I drew, since Herbay put the line back that she didn't want. So there's my pocket. I'm trying to think what else. I think that's everything. So I showed you hands, I showed you clothing, any other things that you want to add to your snowman or snow girl is totally up to you. So I hope you can use these ideas sort of as inspiration. One last thing too is if you wanted to, let's say you wanted to add hair. Someone had asked that this week. You can add hair. Maybe I want to have the snow girl have some braids coming down. Maybe your snow girl wants some glasses. You can do that. So any kind of fun accessories, any kind of fun details, please feel free to have. Oh, one last thing too is you could also, instead of doing like the traditional, you could even just do a regular smile. So I hope you have fun with that. Your goal today is to draw all of your details, and then we're going to outline with Sharpie. So go ahead, add your details, and then I'll show you the last step with the Sharpie. Alright guys, the last step for today, after you have all of your details drawn, is that we're going to outline all of our pencil lines with either a Sharpie, or if you don't have a Sharpie, you can use just a plain black marker. And what you're going to do is you're just going to carefully go and outline all of your pencil lines. I wanted to show you guys just a really cool trick for outlining curves, okay? And what happens first is, let's say you want to start on the edge of the curve, and as I'm going, what happens is my hand kind of starts to block my way, and it doesn't allow me to kind of swing my hand around. So if I rotate my paper to a different angle, it allows me to kind of see where I'm going with this. So there we go, like that. So I'm going to do the same thing over here on this side. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to curve around, and then I'm going to rotate. And then I'm going to curve around, and then I'm going to rotate. And what that allows me to do is to really stay on the lines that I've drawn. And we're not going to be worried about coloring our snowman this week. Mostly we're just worried about outlining. And now this P is black, so I'm going to make it black. But otherwise we're just outlining everything. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're also going to go ahead and outline all your pencil lines. And then that will be the end of step 1 this week, okay? If, let's say, you're outlining and your hand gets tired, give it a break. Walk away and maybe come back to it, okay? So I can't wait to see you guys and check in on Friday. And I hope you're having a great week. Hey guys, and there you have it. Step 1 for our Snowmen in Perspective project. So I hope you have a great week, and if you get your snowmen drawn and outlined, then you will be all ready for step 2 next week. Talk to you soon.